Okay.
So recording started. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, okay, okay. So this is the interface of our system. Okay, so if you want to create any client, you need to go to the SMS client of feature of page, and you can see your client's name in here. This is your test bed which I have installed in your SMS in your server. Okay, so to create a
Yes.
client, you need to click on add button, and if you click on add button, a new page will come up, and you can create your originating client, terminating client, and distillers in here. Originating
I hold on. I have question about this. What's the difference between originating, terminating, and reselling?
Reseller.
okay,
Because yesterday when I want to create, I just pick originating. I don't know the difference.
okay. Originating client means, you know, the Connect app. The Connect app you are using to sign up. Okay. So what is the Connect app? Connect app is a app which is creating which is allowing user to sign up via
Yes.
that app, and they send request uh, to your platform via REVE SMS switch. So the Connect app is a originator. Okay, so you need to add the Connect app as a originating client. The user who want to send you SMS via from their system, or they want to send SMS via your platform, you are adding them as an originating client.
Okay.
Okay, reseller.
Okay. What
Okay.
about the
Terminating.
terminating?
Terminating means the operators or the SMS providers. Like for example, you have added in your system already N Mobile, Airtel, or MTN. These providers in your system. So these are the operators. You can add add them as a terminating client in your system, or if you want to connect with any SMS service provider or server provider like InfoBip or other standard providers, you can add them also in the terminating
Okay.
client management.
Okay. That's very clear now.
Okay.
Reseller.
Reseller.
Reseller means these are mainly purpose created for the resellership purpose. They will do the resellership business. If you want to give any of them to maintain a reseller panel, or they are just for sending traffic purposes. Like okay, a reseller can only send campaign, and they can sell you rates to other users, or they also can create able to create resellers. So these are mainly the reseller platforms who can sell your
Yeah.
SMS via reseller.
Okay, the reseller has to use the platform
Yeah.
to do the campaign. They have to come to this platform for them to be able to schedule their campaign and sell it.
Yeah, they can
Okay.
do the
Why
campaign
the
or sell.
originator can use their app like a Connect app to connect to the platform and send their
SMS.
SMS. I think that's the main difference. Is that clear?
Yes, the difference, yeah, the difference between the originating and the reseller is the originating clients, those which are connected with the technical informations. Like if you select originating client, you can see the technical differences in here. In the technical information, there are the SMPP ID password or the HTTP information, API key and secret key. So the originating client will be connected with you via a technical informations. Like if they are a SMPP provider, then they will connect with you via SMPP ID password. Okay, but if you select reseller, you can see there are no technical informations in here. Okay, there are no technical
Okay.
information in the reseller button, just the TPS apart from TPS. So the reseller, they are not connect, they no need any technical information, they no need any API connectivity. They're just using your platform to resell your SMS traffic, or run campaign, shoot campaign via your platforms.
Okay. Okay. That's clear.
Okay. Okay, so client part is clear now. So after you create your client, the clients are showing you like here, like the have created originating client like connect team test, one is MTN test, another is ORG test to send the SMSs. Okay, then
Let's create one. Let's create a
Reseller.
connect app. Let's create connect app
as a
test.
originating client.
Uh, Connect app test. Okay.
giving him a password just for the account creation purpose. Okay, now for auditing client, balance is mandatory, so I am giving you the
Hold on, before you go to that, the parent role, what is the
okay. The parent means the auditing client whom you are creating. It should be come direct under admin. Okay, they should come directly under
I
admin.
didn't get it. Maybe you
Get
are
it?
too.
Okay, okay. Here you can see I have creating a client which name is Connect App Test. Okay, so there is a menu submenu which name is parent. Okay, so by default here parent showing none. So the purpose of this, there's the when you are creating any auditing client, they always stay directly under admin. That means we are logging with this credentials, right? Admin at that 123. So this is the admin user, the mother user, and the auditing client which you are creating. These are all should be created under directly admin. So here you can see the parent hierarchy. Okay, so it's none means it's directly under admin. This Connect app, its hierarchy is directly under admin. After admin, it's the first child of this admin. So this means the parent. This is the purpose of parent, and this is the role of parents.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay. Okay, it's from your side. The phone is ringing.
Okay, so the parent is clear. Then we come with the role. Okay,
Company.
so
Role.
role parent is clear, right? So now
Parent
role.
is clear now. The role.
Okay, role. So the role means when you create any auditing client, the role is should always be the client role. The client role means in our system there are separate role of each of the clients. So if the purpose of client's role, the client role means if you create any client, he should get the defined role for him. Like for client role, a client can create campaign, a client can see his return, a client can see his reports. This is the role of client. Okay, so this client can should have the client's role. You should not give any client to admin role, because this admin role is for created only for admin. Okay, so you should not give this role to admin. If you are trying to create any reseller, then you should give him the reseller role. That's so then if you give him a reseller role, then that client should get a reseller role. What is the difference between the client and reseller role? Difference between is a auditing client cannot create any auditing client under itself. Okay, uh,
Okay.
like this client content test you are creating, this is the only client you are creating, and there are this connect app client cannot create any authentication client under itself. But if you create a reseller and give him a reseller role, a reseller can be able to create client under him, under reseller an authentication client can be created, and under authentication client he can send any traffic towards your system. Okay.
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 Oh,
Account manager.
account manager. Okay, so when you starting your operations, there are lots of clients should be added in your system. Like if you are reselling your traffic, if you are creating multiple auditing clients, there are hundreds and thousands of clients in your system. So all client cannot be monitored from the admin user itself, right? So to handle those clients, like to give update their rates, to recharge them, or to create invoice and assign them, you need to create an account manager and assign those account manager to the clients accordingly, so that account manager can handle those client from their panel. Like for example, if we create an account manager, and then the account manager name will show you here in the drop down. You can create account manager from the uh, users menu. Okay, so if you create account manager, like if you create account manager like account manager 1, then you can assign that account manager 1 under the connect app test, and when that account manager 1 under login in under his system, he can see that the clients you are assigning to him, you can see it in the drop down. So this is the purpose of account manager. An account manager have his own role. It's like an account manager can manage client, edit can manage client, can edit that client, can give him balance, can change his rate plans. He can also able to create invoice also. So this is the purpose of account manager, and he himself are the responsible for those clients to handle. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Then comes the client balance. The client balance is the, as it speak itself, it means the balance you need to give for your clients. So if you give any positive value, that would be this auditing client balance, that he is able to use up to this much of amount of balance from your SMS system. Okay. And we also
Okay.
support credit means we can giving we can you can give him the advance payment, so that when he can send traffic, he can uh, when his main balance is finished, he can run his system or SMS up to for some time, so that he can keep running his system for a while. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So like the this example now, we can give 100 as account
Balance
balance, yes,
balance and 10
and
as
give
credit.
50 as a credit limit.
Yeah. So after his $100
After
finished.
he has exhausted 100, that means he can still stay extra 50 before everything will stop.
Yes.
Okay, that's clear now.
Okay. Then the red plane section, there are two red planes in here. One is masking and one is non-masking. You understand it better because when
Enter
No,
it,
so-
let's see. Hold
so
on.
this-
Enter that client balance, enter the credit balance. Let's see. Enter 150. Let's see.
50,
100.
100,
Yes.
and limit
Okay, then this 150.
150,
50.
only
50.
50. Okay, sorry,
Only
50. Okay.
yes.
So
Okay.
it means when his actual balance is finished, that means according to his rate plan, when his balance finish, it's 100 becomes 0, then it will uh, uses its credit limit, and his balance becomes negative, and his credit limit becomes 0.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so when it's 100 finished, then if it's using this limit, then after some time its balance would be minus 50, and its credit limit
Yeah.
goes 0. Then you need to recharge him 50 to make his account 0, or make greater than 50 to make his balance into a positive number. Okay.
Yes, that's clear.
Okay. And so it's clear now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And now we are going to the masking rate plan and non-masking. You know already, because when you are trying to test via MTN, from MTN you get a specific marks like cash away, right? So always MTN asks you to send SMS via a fixed sender ID. So without sender ID, MTN guys are not accepting your messages. So this cache is a fixed sender ID which are assigning from the MTN side. So when you send any SMS via this type of fixed sender ID or masking, this message comes with a high price, because for masking in some country on some continent, those messages should be higher price than the non-masking SMS. Like when you send SMS and this SMS come from you with a local number like 12345 6 or plus 880 or plus 212, like something like local number, those are the non-masking SMS. Those SMS does not contain any registered mask, it's just coming from a random local number. So those SMS you need to give a rate for them here in the drop down. that would be the non-masking rate plan. And the mask for MTN, for example, when you getting any SMS like sender ID with is contained the cache away is a sender ID which is approved by the MTN guys. When you're trying to send them SMS, you need to assign another rate plan for those SMSs, so that system can calculate those messages this bill as the sender ID goes over the termination about the operators. So these two rate plan you can assign here in the same client for the same client from here. Okay, is that clear now?
That is, if we use non-masking, that
Okay.
means that it will not have like +2 something something as the masking. Is that what you are saying? That is, the sender ID will not carry all those +22 plus 444 if it is London.
Hmm.
Is that the meaning?
Yeah. If the message coming from any local number like your local Nigerian number like +21 something like your number or
864.
290, those are the non-masking messages, and those messages are local coming with the local rate, because in Nigeria of course there should be a lesser price for the operator to operator messages, right?
Yes.
So these messages are lower rates, so you need to give them your operator or sorry your urgent client two rates. If they are trying to send you a non-masking SMS which are contains with non sender ID which contains a local number, then should be a cheaper rate. And when they are trying to send you mask SMS with a mask or sender ID, then that message should be a higher price because there's a masking SMS. So that's why this two rate plan comes here, so that you can calculate your clients, you can do your business with your client with both the features you have, masking and non-masking SMS.
Okay. So that we'll pick one as international, we'll pick one as local. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So it's clear now, right? Red plan
Yes.
part. Okay. And now the billing policy. So we have the three billing policy in our system. One is on attempt. On attempt means if your urgent client sent you any SMS and it comes to your system, the system will bill for that SMS. Okay, so that is the on attempt message. Okay, and if yeah,
So there will be a place to create a policy of how much we want to be billing. Abi?
yeah.
Okay. Get there.
Okay, then there is another policy which is on submit. That means if your urgent client sent you any SMS and it's comes to your system and passed over the termination, okay, then system will bill for him. That is the on submit message. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and if your client sent you any SMS, and there is another option which is on delivery, which means if your client sent you any SMS to your system and is passed over your system and passed over the new terminations, that means your operator or the SMS gateways, then our
Okay.
system will bill for him. This is the on delivery SMS billing policy. So there are three billing policy in our system. You can choose which you prefer as per your business policy. Although please keep a note, most of the client are using on submit billing policy for keeping them a safe side, because sometimes delivery receipt may get delayed or late. So on submit billing policy is standard method for using in the billing policy, but it's up to you which billing policy you want to use in your system.
Okay.
Okay, then the IVR currency, by default we have the USD IVR currency. That means if you set your IVR currency here, you need to set your rate plan according to that currency systems. Okay, like if you set it here USD, then you need to set your rate plan as per the USD conversion rates. Okay, but if you want to set your local rates, you can set it here. We just need to change it from the backend to local currency, and then you can assign it here. It would be worked as per your given rates and policy accordingly. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Then here comes the activation status. It's enabled. If you disable it,
Okay,
that means that.
wait. Why did they
Okay.
call it IVR rate? Is it voice?
No, it was to understand what is the purpose, as rates are coming from the voice part. That means rates first are coming from the voice part. That's why we keep it at the IVR currency to understand for better understanding, so that client can understand that it's works as per the rates part. Okay, like for example, if your currency is USD and if you give him the USD rate, then your bill would be according to USD. If you give your Nigerian local currency, then if your currency set at Nigerian local currency and you give your rate as per that your system will bill the cut the balance according to your given rate. That's why, to avoid confusion, we keep it as the IVR currency, so that you can understand. But it's for SMS, it's not voice.
Okay.
Okay. So we are in the activation status. So here activation by default it is enabled, that means account is active, and if it's disables, that means it's blocked, so that you can block your account in case your client didn't give you any traffic, or if your client is stayed inactive for long time. Okay. And there is a content whitelist option, which by default it stays as disabled. If you want to enable it, that means you can enable whitelisting for any country, desert country, like for if you enable it for your specific country, then you can for that specific country your content will be whitelisted. That means system will check for those countries SMSs, and it's kept in your system as approval, so that you can check your SMS content before it passed over your terminations or the operators. Okay, so that's why the content whitelisting options come here.
So I didn't understand this country, add country. What does it mean?
It means, like for example, if I add here Nigeria, so when our system gets any SMS from the specific country, for example here as we set here Nigeria, so system will keep them as a pending list. Okay, every SMSs.
You will
And
give it as what?
sorry.
The system, you said when the system gets something from Nigeria, as you have
For
added Nigeria.
when system gets any SMS from this country, and for from this client, like for Connect app test client, system gets any SMS from Nigeria, system will not process them. It keeps waiting and pending for admin's approval, so that when admin can log in into the system, or when if admin wake up, he can check the SMS content and the numbers, and then approved it, so that it's passed over the terminations. It's for the security purposes.
Okay. But if I don't list any country there, it
Then
just
it will
needs
not,
it for approval.
it not need for approval. Yes.
Okay.
It's
Okay,
clear
so
now?
when I select content whitelisting enable, that's when it will come up.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's clear.
Okay. So client creation is part done. Now we go for the technical informations. So when we go for the technical information, the first thing is IP restrictions. So if you here enable IP restriction, that means if your originating clients giving you traffic from any static IP, okay, then you can add his static IP in here. Here IP entry can be multiple, so that you can so your originating client, if your originating client have multiple account sorry multiple IPs, so you can add him here, so system can check from which IPs the incoming traffic is coming up, and he can check it and pass it over the terminations. Okay, so you
No, I
can
didn't
add
get that aspect. This IP restriction. That is, if SMS is coming from a particular IP, if
yes.
we hold it for us to approve it. before it passes it.
No, it's not for approval. It's system directly checked the incoming traffic from the type. For example, if your Connect app is a OTP type, sending you OTP traffic, or this incoming traffic is coming for a OTP traffic, and if your this Connect app is sending SMS from a fixed IP, like your Connect app server, okay. So if you allow this IP in here, then system, when any SMS is coming from your system will check for that SMS, and it will check for the incoming SMS IP, that from which IP that SMS came from. So then he can check it and pass it over the termination.
Okay, that is IP that are not listed here will not be allowed to terminate SMS.
Yeah.
Okay,
Those are
okay.
these are only allowed to terminate SMS. Like for example, if I allow this
This
10, so system, when any SMS come from this account, system will check for this IP, that if SMS come from this IP or not. Okay, if SMS not coming from this IP, system will discard that SMS.
okay. As a security measure.
Yeah, it's a security measure. Okay, and now the SMPP configuration. So here is the system ID and password, which you need to create here when you are creating your client and assign your clients. So you can set it here, the system ID and the password. This should be created by you, like for example connect app, and the password app pass. So this password, okay.
Okay. So this is what I will give my client.
Yeah, this you will give your client so that he can send you SMS by using this ID and IPN port, and you the IP and ID and password.
Okay. What
Okay.
about the port and
IP.
IP?
That
Yeah.
IPN port we will the IPN port we will give you when you install your SMS server. Okay.
Okay.
Also, if you want, we can give you from the backend, which we have stored in our databases.
Okay. Is there a place where I can be checking? Because like yesterday, I made a mistake from what I shared. I share a wrong IP because I forgot before I now finally
The
check.
SMPP IP, the SMPP IP is your billing IP. It's the same. So if you check your billing
Okay.
IP, it is the same. Just port can be different. So just you can check for an installation mail, or if you ask us, or if you search on in our group like SMPP port, you can get the response there. In the old chat history, what was the SMPP port for your system? Or you just ask us, we can share with you.
So, okay. So the port will always be the same, not that each client will have different ports.
No, the port is same. The
Okay.
port is same for all. The port is same for all, but the ID is unique. The ID should be unique. The ID you are
The
creating.
ID will be different.
Yeah, the each client must have a unique ID. One ID cannot be assigned to another client in same system. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And so it's the SMPP. If you want to give any client the HTTP configuration, then you need to
Wait,
create.
what about the TPS limit?
Oh, okay. I was coming after this TP, but as you asked, so let me
Okay.
explain.
Okay.
Okay, so TPS limit means the transaction per second. So by default, we are keeping all clients TPS as -1, which means the unlimited, so that the client we are assigning, he can send us the unlimited traffic to our system. You can restrict it by any positive value. Okay.
So the reason why I'm asking is that like MTN, for example, MTN gave us 500 as the TPS limit that we can send. So if we allow the client to be able to send unlimited, if he's sending like 1,000, that means it will eat all our TPS at MTN. So
Yeah.
other clients will not be able to send. So we need to manage them with the TPS. So
Yes.
what
Yes.
will I put here now if I want to say manage that client to 20 TPS?
20 TPS it be less because as your MTN is opening you 500 TPS, so 20 TPS is less. You can at least give him 60 or 80 because
Okay,
TPS
less than
here
100.
here 20 TPS means the sessions. So in a SMS there should be multiple sessions. Like for example, if any client sent you SMS via SMPP, so there should be a session for the bind, right? There should be a session for bind, there should be a session for the enquire link, there should be a session for the submit SM. If he has SMSs multiple, then there should be the submit SM multiplied, and after that the submit SM response and deliver. So if you set it 20, so if you set as 20, one client can able to send per second 3 or 4 SMS as per the TPS. So better you say give him the 60 or 80 TPS so that system can process those and pass it over the MTN as per the his incoming traffic.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So
Okay, so where will I put it? Will I type replace that -1 with
yeah,
80?
just put it here any positive value.
Okay, 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 okay.
Okay. Now the HTTP configuration, you need to just create an API key and secret key by click on here generate on the generate button. An API key and secret key will assign for that client. You just need to give this API key and secret key, and the
Okay.
API documentation which we provide you when we install the SMS switch, so that you can send you SMS via the API requests.
So where will I get the API? Now I have the key, but the API that I will share with the
Okay.
client, where will I get it?
Okay, let me share with you the another window. That would be my this window. Are you able to see my screen now?
Yes, yes, I've seen your screen now.
This document we have already shared with you guys. I think if you don't have this document, you can ask us. We can share with you again. This document you
Okay,
need
you
to
can share it again. Maybe just drop it on the Skype.
okay.
Download it.
Okay, let me share. Let me drop it down over the Skype. Shared with you guys over Skype. So as you see, this is the documentation. When you create any API key and secret key, you just give him the API key and secret key and this documentation with your SMS server IP and HTTP port. Okay. So as I have said earlier, there will be a SMPP port which we give you when we doing the installation of SMS switch for your system. There is also a API port also. Okay, so the
Okay.
API port which will give you for installation, he will put your SMS server IP and your API port in his API request, and then he will put the rest of the value as per the documentation. Like for example, here this value he will put your SMS server IP and then the port of your SMS server. Then the send is the static, API key is the static. The API key should be changed because you have created a unique
Our own
API key
API.
secret key. Yeah, you have created. Then his SMS content, caller ID, and rest of this. So he will configure it in his app or in his switch, whatever he have when he's sending his the traffic, and he will send us via this. It could be the get method or post method, whatever he prefer. We support both. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so this should be his request, for example. And if he want to send multiple SMS to multiple user, then he can send the multiple SMS content with multiple users. And this should be the JSON output, and this should be our response for the request. Okay, here we
Okay.
can I give him the response for the accepted if it's okay, and the sample message ID, so that he can check it later for the TLR receipt. Okay, there are some error code which we explain in here. He can understand when he configured, so that he can configure in his side as well if his SMS get failed. Okay, and this is the query part of the contents where he can configure his request. Okay, here in the here the caller ID means the sender ID. Okay, so the mask he is sending, if it's a fixed mask, then he will put his mask by the replace from variable. If to user means the number where you send the SMS desert number, so this number, your recipient number, should be replaced by the replace to variable. And the message content, the text content where your message will be present, this variable should be replaced by the replace message content. This for you API provide, this should be your for the Argentine client who will send you the traffic. I'm just explaining to you the parts of it so that you can understand and give him a subtle training about it. Okay, so when he sends us the
Okay.
request, we will give him the response via a JSON format. Okay, so our success status we will share with him by accepted, the delivery status we will share with him by the delivery receipt, the message ID, and the other contents. Okay, this is the submit response of ours, and this is the delivery response for ours. You can see if SMS got failed, our response should be the SMS status is rejected. If SMS got success and delivered, then SMS status should be delivered, and we return our message ID under message underscore ID variable. So this is our response. So he can configure at your end, at his end, and when he configure it, he can get the response properly from our system. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the documentation. So let's get back to the SMS portal again.
Yes.
Okay, in the SMS portal. So we get back on the HTTP configuration. Okay, and now the invoice settings. Okay, so we have a good invoice feature in our SMS switch. We have auto invoice feature, we have active invoice feature, where you can set various of email cycles. Like if you act as daily invoice, then you can set for a specific hour of your of in your system when you can send the invoice to your clients. Okay, then if you want to send him invoice for weekly basis, then you can set any day of your week when you can send his invoice. Okay, then there will be a monthly option where you can set a day of month when you want to send the invoice for monthly, or a custom date of a year where you can set any day of the year, the interval, so that your system can send him invoice. So there are lots of options and features in the invoice settings of ours. Okay, and there is a auto emailer invoice. That means when you enable it, that means make it active, system will send automatic invoice to your desired client's email. Okay, and there should be invoice due date where you can state the due date of your invoices. Okay, so invoice part is clear. I am taking as yes. So let's go to the tipping information. So we have also tipping feature as well. So when we enable open tipping information, and there is a tipping option here, you can see MNP tipping feature here. Enable and disable both options are here. When you, by default it's status disabled, but when you enable it, then you need to put your desired country name in here. Like for example, if you put here Nigeria, then system will check for the Nigeria's number if they are ported or not. If any SMS come from this Argentine client which country contains is Nigeria, and system will check for those numbers if the numbers is ported or not. Okay, so you can set the also
Hello.
that's a yes.
In Nigeria, we have MNP. MNP
Okay,
means mobile number portability.
portability. Yes, yes.
Yes. So, for example, I have a MTN number.
Okay,
I now move from MTN to Etisalat
okay,
or to Airtel. I
okay.
move my number to Airtel.
Yes.
So if I want to send SMS, how would the system know that it should use Airtel number? It should use Airtel to terminate my SMS, not Airtel,
Sure.
not MTN.
Yeah. So that's why you need to enable the dipping checking in here, where in the dipping information here you need to set the Nigeria country, so that for this specific Argentine client, when an SMS come with a Nigerian's number, system will check if the number is ported or not. Okay. Okay.
Okay, how is it's being done? How is Ref able to do it?
Yeah, I'm going through it. Let me explain. So first you need to assign the country here in the as Nigeria, and if you want to charge him for the tipping, because if the number is ported, so there should be a charge for the checking, right? If you change your number from MTN to Airtel or Etisalat, so your number got ported, so there is a checking for that number. There should be a checking, or there I know there is a checking for this number if the number is already ported or not. So if you, it's up to you. We have kept the option in here, so that you can you can dictate here that if you want to charge your client if the number is ported or not. It's up to your business policy if you want to charge your client number is ported or not. Okay, so you need to enable the option here. If you want to charge them, then you need to enable it.
Okay, if I enable it,
Then if system detects the number of Nigeria is ported, system will charge as per the dipping cost. Now you may question us that where I can set the dipping charge. So I'm showing you, I'm going to that part where I can set this dipping chart. You can set it under settings and MNP configuration. Okay,
okay.
MNP configuration. If you open the page, you can see there is a page is opening here where you need to add the specific country. Okay, so
Nigeria.
if you add Nigeria, and here in the drop down here your Nigerian API provider's name will come. So and from your API, Nigerian MNP providers, there should be API for checking, right? So to
Yes.
check the number is ported or not, and then you need to put the API charge. For example, per API for per number ported checking, there is a charge for 0.05 cents. Okay, and if you set it and make it enable, then if you enable here the dipping and the MNP dipping option, and if you set the country and provider and API accordingly, the system will charge for each ported numbers SMS additional this charge for that SMS. Okay, it's called as a dipping charge.
So this provider, you are the one that load it already.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So as our system in our system we have already connected with our local Bangladeshi MNP provider, which is Lexicon Networks. Okay, so the Lexicon Networks is already connected with us. So if any our Bangladeshi clients want to send SMS via ported number, our system can check those numbers and make them charge accordingly. If you want to integrate your Nigerian MNP providers in our system,
let's use Bangladesh. Let me see whether this
okay.
API part will be populated.
Okay, the API part, don't have the lexicon's API part, but from the drop down it's loaded the provider's name, and the API is with the development team. When they provide us this API, here we put here, for example, I am putting a API from a text setup. I'm putting a API here, okay, and here the country name. I think it's Bangladesh knows edited, that's why it's not coming in the drop down. And I am putting the charge. Okay, so if I submit it for any numbers which came from the country name, that means Nigeria, system will check via this API and check if its number is ported or not. Okay, if it's checked,
Okay.
if it's checking, it's found it's the number is ported, then system will charge for the dipping cost. Okay.
Okay, that's clear. So any provider we want to engage, that means we need to collect the API from them.
You need to contact with that providers, and you need to collect their API documentation for portal checking. Then you need to share with us so that you can develop it and integrate it in your system for you.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so dipping information is clear now. And now finally the contact information. Here the contact information means your client's name, company name, etc. This purpose is for the business and billing purposes. Like if you put your client's name here, uh, and his company name and others information, specifically his email address, contact email address. Okay, then and if the contact email address is the same as the billing address, then if you enable here the auto emailer invoice, okay, system will send him auto invoice accordingly if your email server is properly configured. Okay, so that's why the contact information is introduced in here.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the originating clients integration. I hope you understand all of the parts. Do you have any question in this plan so far?
Okay, that's clear. Yes.
Okay, so now let's go for the terminating clients. Same, if you click on add, and if you select terminating, then the page comes. So to create a client, you need to put client name, like for example this name you need to create client for accounting purpose, client ID, his password, his billing password, etc. Need to give him that. Then for our in our system, for terminating client, balance is not mandatory. Okay, and rate plan is not mandatory, but if you want to calculate your profit summary, if you want to generate your revenue summary properly, then you need to put your buying rate here accordingly. Here we also have two rate plan setup, like I have explained you earlier in the originating client part. Like here we have the non-masking rate plan and masking rate plan. You can set it here. Okay, the billing policy I've already explained to you, same as before, and IFA currency also same. The difference, new thing is here is the Unicode encoding. Okay, so if you want to send any SMS with the local content, like local languages, like if I want to send SMS via Bengali language, and if you want to send in your local languages, then you need to enable the Unicode encoding feature in here, so that if you any client sending any SMS and it's passed over to this terminating client, system will enable encoding, and after encoding them properly, it will pass over the termination and the termination provider over the route. Okay, so you need to enable the encoding option in here. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and then the technical information for terminating client. This information will be provided by your terminating providers. In case if your operator is supporting SMPP, then he will provide you the system ID, the password, the domain or IP address of your operators, the SMPP port number, and if they have any originator tone number, NPI, tone NPI, they will share this information with you. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And if your operator or terminating client is a API provider, then he will share with you his API documentation. Just we shared with our originating clients the API documentation and a successful SMS request, and so that you can configure it in here as per his API documentation. He will explain you the this part where to configure and where to configure. Okay.
Okay.
And then the TPS comes, as you said earlier, for MTN here they are requesting you to send SMS by 500 TPS. So if you want to set it the TPS limit in here, you just need to put the value of your desired TPS so that system can send him traffic like as per this TPS limits. Okay. And
Yeah.
then the message ID type, this feature is basically brings in our system for you guys, because I know all know that there is the issue with MTN, like they are sending a submit response in a decimal and then the deliver SM in a hexadecimal value. There is issue with them. So when before in our system we are expecting the submit SM value and deliver SM value same. So when any SMS ID they are sending us in a submit SM, and for the case of MTN they are changing it. So later we investigate and find out that they are changing the some SMS ID into a hexadecimal when they are sending us in the delivered receipt. So that's why you are unable to understand read that the hexadecimal value for the specific SMS, and SMS are keeping as staying as sent status. So we later integrate this feature in our system so that when any SMS pass over any client and if they response differently apart from their submit SM, then you can change it accordingly. Like for MTN this feature was enabled before. If you check in your system for MTN we have enabled this, that the submit SM response is decimal and deliver SMS hexadecimal. That means when we send any SMS over MTN, we are expecting they are responding as their submit SM with a decimal value. Okay, that means say 1 2 3 4 5 6 or 2 5 3 8 9 something like this. And when the response is delivered receipt for the SMS, they are converting that decimal value into a hexadecimal value like 0x8234 or 1234, and we are able to decode them according the converter and understand them that that is the delivery receipt for that specific SMS. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And then the invoice setting is also same as explained. Yeah, we have an active invoice and auto invoice feature for our clients, and the contact information is also same. You need to put the client name and information, email ID accordingly for your clients so that system can send invoice accordingly to them. So there's the terminating client. So terminating client is now, right? I guess so. Then there is nothing technical in reseller. You just need to get a reseller account to run his business or traffic. So just go to the add client and select as a reseller, and you just need to put the reseller name and give him the rate. Please note, for reseller balance is mandatory, so you need to give balance for your reseller client credit limit as well. Okay. And billing policy is also same for reseller, and there is no technicality for reseller, so you don't need to put in technical information apart from TPS limit. You can restrict your reseller by the putting the TPS limit for him, and the invoice information settings dipping and other contact is also same for the reseller as well. That means if you enable invoice, then for reseller client invoice will be generated automatically. If you enable dipping, MNP system will also charge you the dipping
Hello.
cost for your
Hello.
yeah.
Hello. I think
Yes.
maybe it's the internet or your voice has Change.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, it's better now.
Okay. So I was in the reseller part where I was telling you that for reseller dipping is also same as the originating client. That means if you enable dipping for the originating reseller client, then system will check for if the number is ported or not. Okay, and if you set the contact information accordingly in here, then system will send invoice to the reseller accordingly as per the contact informations. Okay, so this is the client page. Okay, so as you're creating the client, now you are requesting, then your next question is how can you route a client, like for if you want to route connect team over MTN, how can you do that? Okay, so to do that we need to go to the route management page here, and we need to go to the SMS route, and we need to set the route for this client. Like if I click on add, the add route page is coming here. Now if I want to set route for this specific client connect team, and I want to do this destination which is MTN's, this Nigeria MTN. So when you type Nigeria, the MTN's prefixes are appeared in here. You know this is the MTN's prefix, and
Hold
in
on,
route
this
settings you
allow destination. Who created it? Are you the one that created it? How
sorry,
did
I'm
it?
indicating.
How did this under this allow destination? This Nigeria 62 so. How did it come up?
Okay, the data is coming from the SMS country. This data is coming from the SMS country. Okay, when we deliver to the platform, we have created the countries and
Hello,
added
your
the
voice has changed again. Oh,
prefixes.
it's better now.
Okay, when we install the switch and deliver to you, we have added the country name with the country code and the MCC and MNC also. And you also put the operator code prefixes here as well. When it's stored in our system, so when you're going to create the route, and in the route page where you want to set route for your
Okay, you only did
specific
for
client.
MTN. What about the Airtel?
Airtel. Also Airtel, we have already added in your commercial setup. So let me show you. The commercial setup is this one. Okay, we have already added in your commercial setup as well. So let's log out. We have already added for Airtel as well. So when you want to create any route for in commercial setup, let me show you from your commercial one. If you want to do any route from your for your Connect app, you want to do it for your Airtel, you know which is the Airtel prefix. Your Airtel prefix is your Airtel prefix is 808701812. 8061 801. This one is the Airtel prefix, right? 61202348082347. This is the Airtel prefix. So this destination is the Airtel, and we are putting the priority here as 1. And if we want to pass the SMS for Conatep over
Okay,
Airtel,
the
so from
priority. Let me quickly ask question about priority.
okay,
What does priority mean?
priority means you want to give the priority your routes. The higher priority is the lesser number. That means when you give your client's priority as 1,
Okay, if
that
I
means
have
it's
more
the
than one route, which one should we use give the highest priority? Is that the meaning?
the highest priority is 1. The the number goes, the lesser the priority it gets.
I didn't get it. The priority is from what number to what number?
The priority is the highest priority is number one. The
The network is breaking.
great
I can't hear you.
lesser the priority it remains. Like for
The network.
1, 2, 3, 4, and if it doesn't get the priority route, it doesn't get the desert routes in the priorities, then it goes for the lesser priorities.
So which one is the highest? Is it one or
Yeah,
the
one is the highest.
okay, okay.
Okay. Okay, so we are doing route for the Connect app, and we are doing it from the Airtel. So if we set from the drop down Airtel operator, and as you know, Airtel is SMPP provider, so we are setting it in here. If we want to send any specific center ID, so you can set the specific center ID in here. For example, if Airtel asks you to send center ID Airtel Nigeria, then you want to set the Airtel Nigeria center ID, and if you press submit, this route will create it for you. As it's the live system, so I'm not submitting it now. So you can see the fixed center ID I've set in here, and the time client I'm added here as well. So after you press the submit, the route page will show you like this. You can also edit or block for any routes if you want. Okay, if you want to test, like for example, you have already created a route for Connect app, and it's routed over the MT in Nigeria. So if you want to do the specific route for Connect app, and if you want to pass it over specifically MTN operator, so you need to edit it and set it as 621 MTNS 810703813 so 810703813. This is the MTN's destination. So if we submit it with fixed entity connect, and the over the MTN Nigeria, the tar prefix is connect. So this is submitted, and as you can see, the connect app is getting routed over MTN. Okay, and it's SMS going over the MTN Nigeria operators with the sender connect.
Okay.
Okay, 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 so it is route part is clear. Do you have any confusion or more query about anything in the system?
So now if I now click, where will I see that is online? There's a place where you now check. You see that is online, is offline, is
Yeah, okay, so if your client is terminating, and you can send him bind request. If you hover your mouse over the bind status, and if it shows offline, you can send him a bind request from here in the billing panel. If you click it here, system will send you a bind request. Okay, this hover, it's not showing you are allowed to do this because it's a urgenting client. Urgenting client will send you bind request. You will not send the bind request from your side. Urgenting client will send you bind request, and when urgenting client send you bind request, you can see it's online. But for terminating client, you can send bind request from your side. Like for example, I am trying to bind with an mobile, so I'm sending a bind request. I'm sending a bind request to him, so he respond and connection established. You can also, as you can see, it's online now. You can also send bind request from your, after editing the client here in the test connection, You can also send him the send a bind request from here. If you click on here, you can see get a pop-up that connection is established successfully. So by this way you can also establish a bind connection as well. Okay, so as I have sent request to n mobile and it's getting again offline, so I'm requesting him a bind request again. And Airtel mobile also offline, so I'm sending him a bind request. Airtel is not responding, so you need to maybe check with them. Let me send a bind request to MTN is online. These clients are added for test purposes, so it as is saying it's a local IP, so this will not come online, but let's send a bind request to him. System will sending a bind request, and as they are just added for test purposes, they will stay as offline, and system will also send you a response that unable to send bind or unable to make bind request, for example, like this. So bind is clear now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So do you have any more questions?
For now, I think I don't have. Okay, let's see the reports before we go to reseller. Let's see the reports.
Okay. So to show you reports, I need to show you from the live system. So this is the live system, and don't have much traffic in it. So where you can get your reports, you will get it from general report, and under it the SMS history. So let's generate yesterday's reports. Okay, if you want to see the detailed report, you can click on here get report, and the report will show you here as per the traffic. You don't have any traffic also yesterday too, so I need to generate report a little back. Then let's generate it from the Sunday. So I'm generating a report again, and I think there is some traffic. So there is a traffic from Connect app. It was going with OTP app, and receiver was a phone number. It's over Nigeria by the password. So it gets failed status by delivery reports. That means it's get failed by the DLR. You can also see the detailed log in the under the log menu sub menu, and if you click on the view, you can see the details packet PDO here as well, like what packet sent came from the Conet. Its sender ID was Conet, the desert number is this, the content is message password, message length, encoding. You can see all here. This is the incoming submission from the your Conet app originator. This is from the your REVE SMS server, right? So it's come to our system, and our system responds against this submit SM that I got you SMS. This is my submit responses. Then our system process that SMS and pass it over your termination MTN as per the route. So our system sent the SMSs over the Connect system, and Connect got the SMS. He responded us with the ID, with the tar ID. Okay, it is decimal. Then he gets us the response over decimal value, and it says that message status is undelivered. Okay, so undelivered they said, and so we got the message failed status from their side. This undelivered, and we sent that undelivered message towards your origination, that means the REVE SMS server. So this is the all, so you can understand what happened from the PTU and log view from our SMS log as well. It's quite explain worthy, and you can understand a lot of things about it from it.
Okay. Do we have anyone that is successful that we can look at the SMS that is sent and is successful? Do you have any example here?
Sorry.
Do you have example of any SMS that is submitted, delivered successfully? So
Okay,
that we
let's
see how the
go
log
for
look like.
a older SMS logs, May, the month of May. This This is a delivered message.
Okay.
We open that message. This video is not loading. Okay, this may have some issues. Let me show you from a commercial system of ours. So this is a delivered message of of one of our
Okay.
client system. Okay, so if I check the view log, so you can see the message come from this origination siphon from with the sender id, this sender id, and to this number. It's otp message, so it was a otp of telegram message for otp traffic. So as the submit sm come from the origination, we respond them with submit sm response that we got to your sms. Then we process the sms and ready to pass over the termination, which name is tnt. So we send a submit sm over the tnt termination with the same contents we got from the origination. Okay, and the responses with the submit sm response that we got your sms, and you submit sm response with the sequence number and the termination message id. So we will search for the term message delivery receipt with this message id. Okay, then the responses with the delivery receipt, that message got status delivered. See, message got delivered with the, and they send us with the response, the message got delivered with the status id, the message id. So as we got the delivery response, we response them that we got the delivery receipt, and we forward that same delivery response towards the originator, which is siphon. And as the siphon gets the response, the response says that I also got the delivery response and it's okay. So this is the full path of a successful sms. Okay, so there is not much the difference. The difference is it got delivered from the termination.
Okay.
Okay, so do you have any more questions?
Okay. Is there a way to do?
Sorry, I didn't hear the question clearly. Hello, are you there? Hello. Hello.